Well, hello, Deep Wealth Nation, and welcome to the Christmas special of the Deep Wealth Podcast. And today, I'm excited to be spending some time with you, whether you're surrounding yourself with loved ones or taking a quiet moment for yourself. This episode, on behalf of the Deep Wealth team, this is our gift to you, filled with inspirations, strategies, and the tools to help you to uncover your hidden potential. So, with that in mind, let me start with a question. Have you ever felt like you're giving everything that you've got, your time, your energy, your passion, but success, it still feels out of reach? Or maybe you've even thought about giving up, wondering if it's all worth it. Well, if this sounds familiar, rest assured you're not alone. In fact, it's a challenge that every entrepreneur faces at some point. But what if I told you that success might be closer than you think? What if you're just 3 feet from striking your gold? Today, I'm sharing a timeless story, 3 Feet from Gold, which is a story from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich that's inspired millions of people, including yours truly. It's a story about perspective, strategy, and recognizing opportunities that are right in front of us. But I'm not going to be stopping there. I'm also going to share with you how you can extract your deep wealth from the lessons of the 3 Feet from Gold story. So, this holiday season, it's a time for reflection, for dreaming big, but also for taking the first steps towards the extraordinary future that you absolutely deserve. And in this solo episode, together, we'll uncover how you can use this quiet, reflective time to position yourself for growth, success, and massive breakthroughs in the upcoming new year. So grab a cup of cocoa or your favorite holiday drink, get comfortable, and let's make this Christmas special a turning point for you, a moment when you choose to dig deeper and to uncover your hidden gold. So are you ready? Terrific. Let's dive in. I want to take you back to a time of wild dreams, high risks, and unshakable hope. And what I'm talking about is the California Gold Rush era. For those that lived through it, it was a time when fortunes could be made or lost overnight. And it's here that we find the story of R.U. Darby and his uncle. Like so many others during the gold rush, Darby and his uncle dreamed of striking it rich. They invested all they had into a piece of land they believed held a promising gold mine. Armed with little more than hope and determination, like so many entrepreneurs, they started digging. For weeks, they worked tirelessly. Day after day, shovel after shovel, they pushed forward. And then it happened. They struck gold. At first, it wasn't much, but it was enough to confirm their belief that they were sitting on a potential fortune. Fueled by excitement, they traveled back home and they shared the exciting news with family, friends, and anyone who would listen. And in the process, they asked for additional money to buy equipment and double down on their efforts. Once they raised some additional money, they packed up and they went back to their gold mine and they began to resume their digging. And for a while, everything seemed to be going according to plan. But then, just as quickly as it happened, the gold disappeared. Confused but determined, they kept digging, hoping to rediscover that gold vein. But no matter how hard they worked, the results stayed the same. Nothing. Weeks turned into months, and frustration gave way to doubt. Finally, after exhausting all their resources and their spirits, they gave up. They sold their equipment and the land for pennies on the dollar to a junk dealer. And to them, the dream was over. Darby and his uncle headed back home, defeated, deflated, with their dreams shattered. But here, this is where the story takes an interesting twist. The junk dealer was not ready to give up. Instead of grabbing a shovel and digging aimlessly, he did something that Darby and his uncle never considered. The junk dealer hired a mining engineer, someone who understood the land in ways that he couldn't. And after careful analysis, the engineer made an astonishing discovery. The gold vein wasn't gone. It was just 3 feet away from where Darby and his uncle had stopped digging. The mining engineer explained to the junk dealer that a gold vein doesn't always follow a straight path. Instead, there are times when the gold vein will suddenly stop, but it'll pick back up again in a different direction or in a different area. Following the engineer's guidance, the junk dealer began to dig, and he struck gold exactly where the engineer said it would be. 3 feet. That was it. 3 feet, that's all that separated failure from extraordinary success. And the junk dealer retired a very wealthy person. Now, I want that to sink in for a moment because this story is more than just a tale of the gold rush. It's a very powerful reminder for all of us, especially as entrepreneurs. How many times have you felt like you were giving everything you had only to think about walking away because success seemed out of reach? The truth is, success is often much closer than we realize. It might be a few steps, or in this case, a few feet away. But here's the takeaway. Darby and his uncle, they didn't fail because they weren't willing to work hard. They failed because they didn't have the right strategy. They lacked the tools, the guidance, and a system to see what's possible. And as you think about that, isn't that true for so many of us? How often do we rely on sheer determination, the fake it till you make it, hoping it'll carry us through only to find ourselves stuck, frustrated, and burnt out? The story of 3 Feet from Gold teaches us three critical lessons. First, persistence is absolutely essential, but on its own is not enough. Second, expert guidance can and often does make all the difference between giving up and breaking through. The junkyard dealer didn't waste any time or effort on how he could address the situation. Instead, the junkyard dealer focused on the who could help him. And third, success requires a system, a proven way to uncover opportunities and overcome obstacles. The junkyard dealer was smart enough to realize that he did not have a system. He lacked the experience, but instead he did something much more powerful. Instead of having to take the time, the effort, the money to figure out the system on his own, he found someone whose specialty was in gold mines and veins of gold. As entrepreneurs, these lessons are more than relevant than ever. Whether you're building a business, scaling your operations, or preparing for a future liquidity event or business exit, the principles in this story apply. So from the lessons that we've learned from 3 Feet from Gold, let's now begin to apply strategies, not just any strategies, but strategies from the trenches for growing your business, preparing for an exit or liquidity event, and then your post-exit life. So are you ready to dive in? Terrific. Let's do it. Now, what I love about the 3 Feet from Gold, and when I heard this, I was a young boy, but the story stayed with me because it's more than a tale of persistence. It's an absolute masterclass in strategy, mindset, and decision making. Because as entrepreneurs, we often find ourselves in the same situation as Darby and his uncle. We're burning the candles at both ends. We are working tirelessly, facing challenges, and sometimes wondering, is success even possible? But here's the thing. The difference between Darby and his uncle and their failure and the junkyard dealer's success, it was not luck. Luck is not a strategy. The junk dealer, he got expert guidance and used a proven system to uncover the gold. So how do we as entrepreneurs apply this lesson to our own journey? So let's break it down into three key insights. So lesson number one, don't quit too soon. Darby and his uncle, they made one crucial mistake. They gave up too soon. They didn't realize that they were just 3 feet away from life-changing success. As entrepreneurs, we often face moments where giving up feels like the only option. Maybe it's a product launch that didn't go as planned, a revenue target that wasn't hit, or even a new initiative that fell flat. These moments, they test our resolve. But here's the absolute truth. Success often lies just beyond the point where we feel like quitting. And in fact, I'll take it one step further. Success is oftentimes ready for us, but we are not ready for success. It takes these so-called challenges or problems, and I'm using air quotes for challenges and problems because that's really a setup for future success. It's that opportunity that changes us for the better. We learn new skills. Your takeaway here are two questions, and please write these questions down. Question number one, am I 3 feet from gold? I want you to think about that. Really take a step back. Stop confusing activity with progress. Am I 3 feet from gold? And then the second question, what small adjustment can I make to change my results? And you'll notice that I'm using the word small adjustment. Oftentimes, it's not a big adjustment. It's not redoing everything from the beginning. It's a small adjustment. As we saw with the junkyard dealer, he went out, he made one small adjustment, and he got a mining engineer. And then once he had the right information, he applied it, and that made all the difference. So oftentimes, it's not about working harder. It's about taking a step back, reassessing the situation, and making a strategic shift. I'm going to give you an example, but before I give you the example, At Deep Wealth, in this podcast, the Deep Wealth podcast, one of the things that we talk about is the podcast is here to help you extract both your business, but also your personal deep wealth. And on the personal side, our health is our first wealth. If we're burning the candles at both ends, we're working 80, 100 hours a week, we don't have the time to take a reflection. We lack the focus, we lack the health, quite openly, to take a step back, really think about the situation and look at it from a different lens. And that makes all the difference. I know personally for myself, some of my biggest breakthroughs, my biggest success came from times where I took a break from the business. I was relaxing, I was recharging, I wasn't even thinking of the business. And then boom, all of a sudden, this incredible idea pops into my head. I apply it and success follows. So in an example I want to share, we all know about Netflix and how Netflix defeated that 800-pound gorilla, otherwise known as Blockbuster. And on paper, Netflix should have failed in every way. They lacked the infrastructure, they lacked the money, they lacked the experience. They started initially as a DVD rental service and they faced near bankruptcy. But instead of giving up, they pivoted and they understood that when the internet became faster, there would be the ability to stream movies. And the rest, as they say, is history. So with that in mind, let's go on to lesson number 2, and that's seeking expert guidance. The junk dealer's success was not random luck. It happened because he sought advice from someone who had the knowledge that he lacked, a mining engineer who could analyze the land and uncover its full potential. And as entrepreneurs, it's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking we have to do everything ourselves. But the truth is, the right guidance can save us time, money, and frustration. And although the 3 feet from gold doesn't talk about this, what if the mining engineer came back and said, there is no more gold vein? Whatever was there, it was extracted, nothing is on the land. Well, what would have happened? Sadly, for the junkyard dealer, he would not have had his happily ever after and retired rich. But at the same time, think about all the time, effort, money, and agony that he would have saved himself because he found out, well, there's no point digging like Darby and his uncle. It's just not there. So having the right people, the who in our lives, in our business, makes all the difference. And it's up to them to figure out the how. So here's your takeaway. Another 2 questions I want you to not only write down, but I want you to think about right now. I want you to take a so-called problem that you're facing and ask yourself, question number 1, who is your mining engineer? And then question number 2, where can you find the expertise that will help you overcome the challenge? Whether it's a mentor, advisor, or industry expert, having the right people in your corner can make all the difference. And nudge, nudge, wink, wink, here's a shameless plug for the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery System. It's a system, and this is what's going to help you connect the dots. And you're going to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to grow my profits today so I can prepare for a business exit or liquidity event and show up with a bigger, more profitable business and have not just any deal, but the best deal. Let's go for another example before I go on to lesson number 3. And the other example, I want to talk about Apple and Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs had a vision. But part of that vision, he understood that he would not be the technical genius that Apple needed to get a computer to market. So his who in this case was Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak, he brought the expertise, the technical knowledge, the operational knowledge in the very early days to get Apple's products out there. Jobs was smart enough to know that it wasn't up to him to fill the gaps in the areas that he didn't know. He focused on his strengths and he brought other people in to help him in the areas that he simply didn't know or were his weaknesses. And that leads us to lesson number 3, strategy over hustle. Darby and his uncle, yes, they worked hard. There's absolutely no denying that. But hard work alone isn't enough. And this is where most entrepreneurs make a mistake. I've made this mistake too many times to count, where we confuse activity for progress. When we don't have a system or a strategy to guide our efforts and focus on the energy, it's all for naught. The junk dealer, on the other hand, he didn't rely on hustle. He relied on data, expertise, and a strategic approach. So your takeaway is, let's not glorify the hustle. There's nothing to glorify about that. The reality is it's all about the strategy and the execution of the strategy. As an example, the mining engineer gave the junkyard dealer the strategy. Here is where the gold vein continues. Well, a strategy is just a strategy. It's worthless unless we execute on that. The junkyard dealer, he executed on that, and then he brought everything to fruition. So instead of just working harder, I want you to ask yourself, Am I working on the right things? And the second question I want you to ask yourself, how can I align my efforts with my long-term vision? So as an example, let's think about Amazon. Jeff Bezos didn't just build an online bookstore. He created from the very early days before he began a strategy focused on long-term growth and a customer obsession. This strategy allowed Amazon to evolve into the global giant that it is today. And as you're thinking about that, let me share lesson number 4. And pun intended, the gold is in the details. One of the most overlooked lessons from the story is the importance of details. The gold was always there. It took a deeper look to uncover it. So in your business, where's your gold? And chances are it's likely hidden in plain sight. Perhaps it's a customer pain point that you haven't addressed, or maybe you haven't even asked your customers what their latest pain points are. Perhaps it's an inefficiency in your operations. Maybe, if we go to step 1, big picture in the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap, maybe it's an inflection point, otherwise known as a market opportunity that you're not aware of or that you overlooked. And in fact, if I look at my e-learning company, Embinet, and if you know the Embinet story, we have Embinet One. This is the company that I launched in the very beginning, where we're helping to keep online students in their seats. And then Embinet 2. Embinet 2 was when we uncovered a customer pain point. Hey, I'm having problems getting all these new students. Can you help me? And that's where we found that inflection point. We leveraged that. And Embinet 2 went on to create that market disruption. Had I just stayed with Embinet 1, hey, things are going great. The company's profitable. Life is good. Embinet 1 either would have gone out of business or it just would have gone flat in terms of the profits. Not where we want to be. So we always want to be finding out, where is that new gold that I'm not aware of? So your takeaway on this is, review the details of your business and ask yourself, where are you potentially leaving money on the table? So in other words, your processes, your KPIs, when's the last time you really reviewed them? The marketplace has changed. Technology has changed. How can you become more efficient? And then the second question, what opportunities are you missing because you haven't looked closely enough? And if I go to step 2, X factors in the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap, one of the favorite questions that we ask, it's an X factor. It's a question when we're asking customers, hey, what's keeping you up at nights when it comes to your business? Listen, ask the question, listen. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Let your customers do the talking. They may share with you 100 problems that they're going through, and only 1 problem is potentially relevant for you to address. But that's all it takes to find that problem. It's an inflection point, solve it, go on to have a market disruption. Let me give you another example. Airbnb. Airbnb started as a way for the founders to rent out an air mattress in their apartment. But when they looked at what was going on, they realized the true opportunity, it wasn't just extra space. It was creating an entire platform, being a matchmaker for unique travel experiences. And as the saying goes, it wasn't easy for them in the beginning, but the rest is history. And they went on to create a huge market disruption, created tremendous value, and a win-win-win for all involved. So what's amazing about these lessons, they're simple, but don't confuse simple with simplicity. They're also incredibly powerful. Success is not about working harder. And as I look back to my own journey, that's one thing I would love to tell the younger Jeffrey. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's knowing when to stop and to pivot, when to seek advice, when to dig deeper. And in fact, if you look at the 7-figure offer that I said no to, created the system, the Deep Wealth 9-step roadmap, Deep Wealth Mastery. That system incorporated these lessons into actionable strategies that help myself and my business partners go on to welcome a 9-figure exit deal. Same company, Embinet did not change. We were not buying companies. Our growth rates didn't change much. They were nice growth rates, but they were consistent. What was the difference between 7 figures and 9 figures? It was a system. That system helped myself and my business partners know what to do, but also what not to do. So in the next part of this solo episode, I'm going to share with you, how can you use this holiday season? It's quiet. We have a chance to reflect, recharge, and then take these insights and apply them to both our business and personal life. So now is a time to set the stage for your massive success in the upcoming new year. So what do you say? Should we dive into it? Amazing. Let's do it. So now that we've explored the lessons from 3 Feet from Gold and we've connected them to the entrepreneurial journey, let's shift gears, and I want to focus on you. because again, the holiday season, it's a rare gift. And through the benefit of technology, if you're listening to this episode and it's not Christmas, it's not the holiday season, that's okay too. You can take these strategies, create some quiet time in your life and apply them. So for most of the year, let's face it, if we're honest about it, we are caught up in the hustle of running our business, solving problems, and we're chasing goals. But right now, the world is slowing down and there's an opportunity to really pause, reflect, and now set the stage for what you want to make next year not just any year, not an ordinary year, but an extraordinary year. It's not about taking time off to rest. It's about resting, but you're also recalibrating. It's about asking yourself big questions that often get lost in the noise of daily life. So let's take the lessons from 3 Feet from Gold and turn them into a powerful exercise for reflections and actions. So step number 1, I want you to reconnect with your vision. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You do have a vision, don't you? And that vision gets you out of bed all excited, right? If you don't, stop right now, take some time out, and recreate your vision that makes it exciting for you. Make it big and grandiose so that what looks like impossible becomes I'm possible. Because as entrepreneurs, it's all too easy to get focused on the day-to-day, that we lose sight of the big picture. But if you don't know what you're digging for, how do you know when you've struck gold? So take a moment right now and reconnect with your vision. And there's 2 questions that you can ask yourself. Go back to the very beginning. When you started your business, why did you do it? You could have done anything else, but you started your business. So why did you start that journey in the first place? The second question, what does success really look like for you? And I'm not talking financial goals. Listen, I've been on both sides of the ledger here, but as the saying goes, money does not buy happiness. Yes, money, it's like oil. It's a lubricant. It can make life easier, but is not going to give you fulfillment. That's why at Deep Wealth, we say success without fulfillment, it's an absolute failure. So what does success truly look like for you beyond just your financial goals? What has you excited, energized, happy, and feeling fulfilled? I want you to write these 2 questions down. Why did you start your journey in the first place? What does success truly look like for you beyond your financial goals? And then once you've written them down, take some time out and journal your answers. And it's not the first answer. Answer it 1 time, answer it a 2nd time, repeat a 3rd time, a 4th time. By the time you get to your 10th or 15th answer, that is, pun intended, your real gold. So keep on going until you get 10 or 15 answers. It'll become more challenging, but it's worth the time and it's worth an effort. I'm going to share a quick story. As you know, I started at Embanet. I faced setback after setback. Picture it. I was living in my parents' attic. I had just graduated from an MBA program. My MBA friends, they were buying new cars. They were taking vacations. They were getting these corporate bonuses that they signed up for. And here I was struggling to make ends meet. But what kept me going, it was my vision. It was a belief that I can make a difference in the world of education. I loved helping people. I loved education and I loved technology. And it was the intersection of all 3 that was my happy spot. In fact, in the early days, I was literally signing the check for myself to stay in business. I was losing money in the early days, but my vision, that's what helped me overcome with my passion the day after day of failure. But I took those so-called failures, learned from them, and then I applied those lessons. So your vision is your anchor. Reconnect with it and let it guide your next steps. Speaking of steps, step number 2, what are your 3 feet from gold opportunities? One of the most powerful lessons from the story is that success is oftentimes just beyond the point where we feel like giving up. So take a closer look at your business. Where are you feeling stuck right now? And as you're thinking about that, another question I want you to ask yourself, what's one area where you might be closer to a breakthrough than you realize? And sometimes I know the answer isn't obvious, and that's why reflection is so important. Look at the bigger picture and ask yourself, are there untapped opportunities in your market? Are there new markets that you haven't even considered that you can apply some new skills and really make a difference, create a market disruption? Second question, is there a customer need that you haven't fully addressed? And truth be told, you will not know that until you start speaking to your customers. Ask them that step 2 X factors question. We call it the magic wand question. Hey, here's a magic wand. If you could wave this magic wand, what's keeping you up at nights that you would make disappear, that would just go away? And then the third question, is there a small adjustment? And the emphasis is on small. Is there a small adjustment that you can make right now that can yield big results? So here's a simple exercise. Write down 3 areas of your business right now that you're facing some challenges. And then for each one, either on your own in solitude or with your team, brainstorm one small action that you could take right now today to move closer to a solution. Your mission is to not stop until you have one small action because let's face it, small actions consistently done day over day, they add up to huge results. The junkyard dealer, as an example, in 3 Feet from Gold, he didn't start by digging. He asked questions. If you want to change your life, change the questions that you're asking. Step number 3, seek guidance. If there's one thing that we learned from the story, it's that having the right guidance is everything. The junkyard dealer struck gold because he reached out to a mining engineer, not just any mining engineer, someone who had the expertise, was familiar with the area, and had the right track record. So, who's your mining engineer? I want you to ask yourself, who could you turn to for advice or insights in the areas where you and the business are stuck? And then the second question, are you surrounding yourself with the right mentors, advisors, or peers? And if you're not, now's the time to put this together and find the right mentors, the advisors, the peers that will make all the difference. What I love about the holiday season, let's leverage this quiet time, this reflection, to take the first step towards building or strengthening your network. Reach out to someone you respect. It could be a mentor, a peer, an expert in your industry, and start that conversation. Take action. All you have to do, list some names right now. It doesn't have to be a big exercise. Who comes to mind? Who comes to top of mind? Write that down. And if they won't help you or if they can't help you, ask them who could and continue with it until you're surrounding yourself with the right people. In fact, Jim Rohn, one of my favorite quotes, we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most amount of time with. So who are you spending your time with? Are they helping you grow as a person? Are they making all the difference for you, or are they holding you back? If it's the latter, if they're holding you back, in a polite way, begin to remove yourself from those business or personal relationships and fill that gap in with people who can make all the difference. I cannot emphasize this enough. Success is a team sport. The most successful entrepreneurs I know didn't get there alone. Nobody is self-made. It takes an entire team, a village, where you can lean on the wisdom and the expertise of others. Make this your mission to find the people in your life who can help you see what you might be missing. And so as we look to the upcoming new year, I want you to create a plan. And this is where reflection is so powerful. Reflection is great, but in and of itself, it's not enough. It's action that turns our dreams into reality. So as you reconnect with your vision, I want you to identify your opportunities, seek the guidance, and start thinking about the year ahead. Ask yourself, for this year, what are my top 3 goals? And in fact, take those top 3 goals and now break them down. Okay, what are my top 3 goals for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and then the fourth quarter? Second question, what resources or support will you need to achieve your goals? Third question, what's one action that you can take this week to build that momentum? Take the time, ask the questions. What are my top 3 goals for the year? What resources or support will I need to achieve them? And then what's one action I can take this week to build momentum? Break your goals into smaller steps. Focus on the progress, not perfection. Done is always better than perfect. And remember, the gold is in the details. So here's a practical tip for the holiday season. Create this very simple roadmap for the first quarter. Identify one goal that you're going to focus on. Once you've done that, go on to the next and the next. And again, when you do that day over day, week over week, month over month, that's where the magic happens. So with the new year around the corner, you'll have your plan. You're going to hit the ground running with clarity, purpose, and excitement. And then what I want you to do, step 5, this is huge, and I continue to learn all about this and apply it for myself. Celebrate the wins. As entrepreneurs, when we get to the top of one mountain, we immediately, just with our type A personality, we begin to look at the next mountaintop that we're going to conquer. But pause before you do that. The mountaintop's not going anywhere. Reflect on the past year, the past quarter. Don't forget to celebrate how far you've come. To go forward, oftentimes we need to look back of what we've achieved. We take that for granted. If we're always forward facing, it's easy to become frustrated and discouraged. Look back so you can move forward. Because when we focus on what didn't go right or overlook the progress that we've made, it changes our mindset. We always want to have that winning mindset. Take a moment now to acknowledge your wins, both big and small. As an example, what were some of the highlights of the past year? What makes you really proud? And it's not just financial. It could be on the personal side. It could be an act of kindness. It could be something that the team did, how you changed the lives of your customers or made the industry better. So I want you to think about that because gratitude isn't just about looking back. It's about fueling your journey forward. And when you recognize your progress, you remind yourself of what's possible. So, for this holiday season, it's more than a time to rest. It's a time to recharge, realign, and recommit to your journey. When you reconnect with your vision, identify your opportunities, you seek guidance, create a plan, and celebrate your wins, you're setting the stage for an extraordinary year ahead. So, as we get ready to wrap up the solo episode, I want to leave you with this thought. The goal that you're searching for, it's not far away. It's actually waiting for you to uncover it. The only question is, are you ready to take the next step? And I know you said yes, so now we're going to continue this journey together and I talk about what you can do. So, as we come to the close of this Christmas holiday episode, I want to leave you with a final thought, something that has the absolute power to transform the way you're approaching not only your business, but your life. The story of 3 Feet from Gold is not just about persistence or strategy. It's about seeing opportunities through a different lens, a new lens. It's a reminder that success is oftentimes much closer than we realize. It's hidden beyond the obstacles that we face. The goal that you're searching for, the growth, the breakthroughs, the dreams that you've been chasing, it's already there. It's waiting for you to uncover it. The only question is, will you keep digging? So, for this Christmas holiday special, for this episode, for the holiday season, I want you to challenge yourself to take a moment to reflect, not just on where you've been, but on where you're going. What does your gold mine look like? Are you just 3 feet away from something extraordinary? And so, as a recap, let's revisit the lessons that we've explored today. First, don't quit too soon. When a challenge arises, remind yourself that the biggest breakthroughs often come after the hardest moments. Success might be only 3 feet away. Don't let your frustration stop you from getting there. Second, seek guidance. No one is self made. No one achieves success alone. Surround yourself with the right people, the right mentors, advisors, or peers who can help you see what you might be missing. This is the who, not the how. Find the right who, and they will figure out the how for you. Remember, the junkyard dealer struck gold because he sought the expertise of a mining engineer. The mining engineer was the who, and the mining engineer figured out the how of how do you find the gold vein. Is a gold vein even there? And in this case, it was. And then third, prioritize strategy over hustle. Hard work, yes, it's essential. You're going to be doing it, but it's your strategy. That's what amplifies and leverages your efforts. Align your actions with your long-term vision and focus on what truly matters. And I want you to remember that the gold is often in the details. Take time to closely look at your business, your goals, your opportunities, and what's one small adjustment that you could make that's going to unlock massive success. So, as you look ahead to the new year, I want you to think about how you can apply these lessons to your journey. And here's 3 powerful questions to guide your reflection. What's your vision for the new year? What do you want to achieve, and why does it matter? Question 2. What's your best guess? Where are you 3 feet from gold? What opportunities may be closer than you realize? The third question, who can you turn to for guidance? Who are the people who will help you dig deeper and uncover your hidden potential? So use these questions to create a roadmap for the year ahead. And then once you've done that, break your goals into actionable steps and commit to taking one bold action every week. Progress, no matter how small, creates momentum. One of the things that you can do in your calendar, schedule right now, time to reflect, to execute, to think, to review. Remember, what gets measured is what gets done. If it's not on your calendar, it's so easy to forget about it and move on to the urgent but not important. And before we wrap up, I want to remind you of something as important. Celebrate. Celebrate how far you've come. Look backwards so you can go forwards. As entrepreneurs, too often we're focusing on what didn't go right or how far we still have to go. But when you take a moment to reflect on your wins, either big or small, you remind yourself of what's possible. Gratitude. Gratitude is your rocket fuel, and it's gratitude that's what fuels your progress. So as you reflect on the past year, ask yourself, what are you proud of? Another question, what progress have I made, even if it feels small in the moment? And then the third question, what are lessons learned? What are lessons that you've learned that will serve you moving forward? So I'm going to leave you with this challenge over the next week. Take 30 minutes, take 60 minutes, take 90 minutes. I'll take whatever you have, but reflect on what we've discussed today. Think about your vision, your opportunities, and the people who can help you along the way. And write down one action that you're going to take today, for the rest of the week, next week, to move closer to your goals. Remember, success is not about giant leaps, it's about consistent steps forward. So as you celebrate Christmas and the holiday season, I want you to remember this. You are closer to your goal than you think. The opportunities that you're searching for, the success that you've been working so hard to achieve, they're within your reach. This is your time right here, right now. Use the quiet time of the season to reconnect with your vision and to reflect on your journey so that you can commit to digging just a little deeper, because the best is yet to come. And no spoiler alert here, as you're going through this episode, we have a very special New Year's episode lined up for you. And it's really a 1-2 combo that'll make all the difference. But that said, let me not get ahead of myself. From my family to yours, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. May the new year be one of health and growth with gratitude and discovery, a year where you uncover the gold that's been waiting for you all along. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it with me here on the Deep Wealth Podcast. It's an absolute honor to be part of your journey. And until the next time, please take care, be well, and remember your success is not just possible, it's inevitable when you keep going. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless. So there you have it, Deep Wealth Nation. What did you think? So with all that said, and as we wrap it up, I have another question for you. Actually, it's more of a personal favor. Did you find this episode helpful? Have you found other episodes of the Deep Wealth Podcast empowering and a game changer for your journey? And if you said yes, and I really hope you did, I have a small but really meaningful way that you can actually help us out and keep these episodes coming to you. Are you ready for it? The dramatic pause. I'll just wait a moment. Drum roll, please. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast on your favorite podcast channel. When you subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast, you're saving yourself time. Every episode automatically comes to you. And I want you to know that we meticulously craft every one of our episodes to have impactful strategies, stories, expert insights that are designed to help you grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and yes, even optimize your post-exit life and your life right now, whatever you want that to look like. And every time you subscribe and a fellow entrepreneur subscribes, it's a testament to how together, yes, we are changing the social fabric of society. One business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. So don't let the momentum stop here. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast channel. You'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear from the top industry leaders, the innovators, the disruptors that are really changing and shaping the business world. And maybe you're commuting, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're taking a well-deserved break that we spoke all about on this episode. The Deep Wealth Podcast, it's your reliable source for the next big idea that could literally revolutionize your business. So once again, please hit that subscribe button, stay connected, inspired, and ahead of the curve. And again, your next big breakthrough moment, it might just be one episode away. Maybe it was even this episode. So all that said, thank you so much for listening. And remember, your wealth isn't just about the money in the bank. It's about the depth of your journey and the impact that you're creating. So let's continue this journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless.